Hello, and thanks for tuning in to Outer Avenues TV. This is just a quick recap of how the market fared in 2025 in the Outer Sunset and Parkside District. So in 2025, there were a total of 157 sales, which is down 11 from the previous year. The median sale price was 1.5, which was up about 3 or 4% from 2024. Now, the interesting thing about 2025 was it really was a roller coaster of a year as far as the strength of the market goes, because you can look at a chart for a calendar year and you can see the median sale price, median days on market, all these stats, but what it doesn't tell you is what was happening quarter by quarter, and that's kind of what I wanted to dissect real quick in this video. The first quarter of 2025, the market was just on fire. Open houses were very well attended. If you had something on the market during that snapshot in time, you were very likely to see the upper end of what the data was suggesting for your property versus the lower end. And prices were probably at least a smidge higher than they were in the latter half of 2024. The market slowed down considerably in the middle of April, which is when the stock market tanked in the aftermath of all the tariff drama. And the market stayed very soft after that for the whole middle of the year. So I would say the second half of April was very slow, all of May, all of June. And when I say the market was slow, what I really mean by that is open houses were less busy, maybe half as much traffic as the first quarter. And then, if you had something on the market, it would probably sell for the lower end of what you would have expected versus the higher end. Whenever I meet with a prospective seller for the first time, I always give them a low number and a high number when I'm building an expectation based on the data. I remember I had a house on the market on 48th Avenue in May, and I had given the seller an estimate of 1.7 to 1.9, and we had a handful of offers and sold it in a week, but it sold for 1.7, and it wasn't easy to get to that price. It took negotiating to get there. And so that's what I mean by a slower market. I started to notice it pick up a little bit in July, and then it became very obvious by August that the market had recovered and then some. I had two listings on the market in late August. I had one on 43rd and one on 26th, and both of them sold quickly with well over a dozen offers, and both of them went for a couple $100,000 more than what I was expecting. And my expectation was based on what I thought was the most relevant data at the time. And I just kept seeing it improve and improve as the months went on. And I have no doubt that if you had a crystal ball and if you had known, the best time to sell last year would have been November or December. I could not believe how strong the market was during the holiday season. I've seen that before, but it's been a while. And so it's a good example of how you should never assume that one time of the year is better than another. You hear from a lot of people, oh, wait until the spring or the summer to sell your property. And 2025 is a strong reminder that you really don't know when the market will pick up and when it will slow down. Think about that for a second. You would have been better off selling your house sometime between Thanksgiving and Christmas than you would have in late April, May, June, July, August. So just keep that in mind. As far as what I expect coming into 2026, I know enough about this to know that it's not wise to get hung up on a specific prediction. Usually, when the holiday season is very strong, the first quarter tends to follow that general trajectory. And so I'm definitely assuming that the first quarter of this year will be a strong market unless something happens in the news that sucks all the confidence out of the room. You never really know. For somebody to buy real estate, you need some combination of cash, credit, and confidence. And at any given time, there's some balance of those three things out there for different people. So who knows? I have no reason to expect a big increase in inventory. Like I mentioned a few minutes ago, or maybe I forgot to mention it, I don't know. There were 157 sales in 2025, which was 11 less than 2024. My best guess is that it's going to be somewhere around the same. I'm not expecting some type of big exodus out of the sunset or anything like that this year. And that's all I really had to say. So stay tuned. I'll post another update in early April just to recap how the first quarter ended up playing out. And keep an eye out for the flyers I send in the mail with the properties I'm selling, and also, more importantly, the invitation to the events that I do in the neighborhood. I'm very likely to do one in late March at Java Beach over on Judah, so keep an eye out for that. And thanks for tuning in.